Please join me in welcoming back to our stage Mr. Joe James.
Thank you. Hi. Hi. I will try to have a very expressive butt. It's working. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am a thief. I'm going to tell you about the time I stole my best friend and forced him to change his name. One summer, my girlfriend and I were sitting on a back porch. We'd been going out for over a year, and things were going well. We were moving in together, and we were had an apartment. We were working out some logistics. We were sitting there, lovely summer day, and this little rat-like creature peeks its head around the corner coming up the stairs, and I'm a little freaked out, and she goes, "Ah, it's a cat!" And I'm like, I like animals, but I'm not like a blanket, all cats are great, all dogs are great. I judge them on a case-by-case basis. Where my girlfriend is like, all cats are awesome. I do think ferrets are assholes. This thing comes up the steps, and it's clearly kind of ratty. It's got greasy fur and looks a little gritty, and one ear keeps flicking, and one eye is a little watery, skinny, tiny. And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to let him in to meet Einstein," her cat. I'm like, "No, that's a bad idea. This cat could have cat venereal diseases and be really horrible to have around other animals." So I talk her into just leaving him on the porch. She does open the door, and she lets them get face to face. And what was really interesting is that if you've ever seen two strange cats meet, it's not pretty. But they did not hiss. They just considered each other for a few moments and just kind of hung out. It was really fascinating to see. We had to leave, close the door, say goodbye to this strange cat. The next day, I come over to help her pack, and I walk in. The cat is in the living room, playing in a box with Einstein. And I'm like, not very happy about it. But they're having a blast. And I can tell you that this cat seems to be picking up on that if anything is going to flourish out of this relationship, he's got to win me over. So I'm sitting on the couch, and sure enough, he comes up, curls up in a little ball, lies down on my arm, and falls asleep, and starts purring really loudly. Fuck. And the thing about this cat, well, there are two things about this cat. One, he had huge balls. So, yes, it's adorable laying on my arm, but I also have a nutsack on my forearm. But we noticed that whenever he came over a few times, whenever he came over and he would sleep, he would just sleep like a rock. He would just boom, he would just totally crash. And we think he just felt safe there. Like we would give him some food and he just boom, out. So we had to go. I got my arm out from underneath him. He didn't move, still breathing. We leave. We come back about an hour later. We went to go get some boxes, and he's gone. He's gone. We're like, okay, he's a cat. He must be somewhere. We're looking behind furniture, underneath the bed, looking in the closet. He is gone. He has disappeared. And we're like, we have no idea how he got out of this locked apartment. Comes over the next day. I'm happy to see him. I'm thrilled to see him. I'm glad he's all right. He jumps in my lap. He licks my nose. He greets me. I'm holding him. My girlfriend and I are talking well, clearly we've got a new roommate when we move into our new apartment. And we start talking about it, and we're talking about possible names and everything. And as we're sitting there chatting, from outside, we hear the little girl from next door shout, "Kiki!" Kiki. The cat stiffened in my arms and had a look of terror at hearing this word, Kiki, ringing up the stairs. The little girl comes in the backyard, comes upstairs, looks through our screen door and goes, "Kiki, there you are." We're like, "Oh, it's your cat? Oh, yeah, sorry. We thought it was a stray." Handed Kiki over to the little girl, and the little girl was telling us about how, yeah, we let him roam, but we take good care of him, although the dog always eats all his food, and he clearly hasn't been fixed or been to a vet's. And we're like, yeah, that's great, that's awesome. She picks him up, wags her finger at him as she's walking out, and he just looks at me, and I could guess, it's totally my interpretation, but if I could read his mind, it'd be like, this is my hell. Cat leaves. My girlfriend and I are sitting in the living room, silently looking at each other, and we both are thinking the same thing. We've got to save this cat. We've got to do something. You know, and she's like listing all these reasons, like, you know, he hasn't been to a vet, he's not getting enough food, he clearly doesn't feel safe, he might be dead in a year if we don't do something. I'm just like, my argument is that they named him Kiki. This huge testicled cat named Kiki. So we start plotting it out. We're like, well, if we wait till the last day when we're moving and just scoop him up, so many things could go wrong. They might see us. He might actually not show up on his schedule. So we plan to do it like about a week out before the move. So I come over with a carrier. He's there. He comes in, like I'm picking him up and holding him, and the little girl, Kiki, comes in the back door. Here you go. So forwarded. Come back the next day. I'm by myself. I got the carrier, and I'm just sitting in the living room, door open, put some food out, and I'm just waiting. He's not showing up. He's not showing up. He's not showing up. I have to go to work soon. I get up, and then I hear his meow. Now, the thing about this cat, he doesn't really meow. He kind of quacks. And he kind of sounds like a gangster from the 1930s. He's like, meow. Meow, see? Meow. And I see him like, yay! And I scoop him in the carrier, and I bolt it. I almost ran down the street carrying this box back to my apartment. Take him to the vet's the next day. The vet picks him up, and you just can't help but get a scoopful of kitty cojones when you pick him up. And she's like, oh, he's well endowed. I felt a tinge of pride. I was like, yes, he is. So they took him, he got fixed, they cleaned him up, he had ear mites, so they took care of that, and there's long-term damage from the ear mites, like his eye would keep watering. And he came back to my place. The fur was no longer greasy or gritty, it was nice and soft, he started to eat more and started to fill out. He was clearly very happy about his new situation. I got the great end of the deal. It was my girlfriend who had to deal with the neighbors constantly asking, have you seen our cat? Have you seen our cat? Don't know. Just hasn't shown up here anymore. So, eventually we move in to the new apartment. Einstein and Houdini are reunited. They break in the place by running up and down the hallway. And it's just like really awesome. It's really great, clearly happy, and I feel like we really did a good thing by taking this cat. Oh, by the way, we named him Houdini because of his ability to disappear from locked apartments. And he just loved that name. And even though Lisa and I broke up, and because of that, he and Einstein parted ways, he since has made other friends, and another stray came into the fold named Una that they love to play. And we've been through 8 apartments together, Houdini and I, 5 girlfriends together. Even to this day, though, he'll greet me at the door, and he still licks my nose, and he comes when I call his name. And I think back to that time, and I remember when it happened, my girlfriend and I got a little flack from some of our friends because they're like a little appalled at what we did. Like, we could have talked to the little girl. We could have talked to the family. We could have tried to convince them there was a better way to treat this animal. Otherwise, all they're going to do is repeat it and put another cat through misery, which is likely what happened. And I feel very sorry about that. But I would feel much sorrier if my best friend had to go through life being called Kiki. Keep it going for Joe James!